Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I think we have few people. Welcome to this little webinar about why choose Odoo. Um, Feel free to let us know where you are from on the chat. I have a couple of colleagues who will answer your question. Um, and yeah, we're going to start this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. And we have a few slides about why choose Odoo and why Odoo can answer your needs, why Odoo can help your organization and fit your business requirement. So my name is Wilfried Juncker. I am a team leader in the office in San Francisco, and I manage all the partners with my team, all the partners in North America. And so we have the responsibility to be the bridge between the partners, the clients, and Odoo. And so we are now around 8 people, and we have in our responsibility more than 250 partners across North America. All right. Today we're going to try to focus on 4 different bullet points. The first one is about Odoo as a company, Odoo as an ecosystem, and why today I'm telling you about why choosing Odoo and why Odoo can be a good fit as a company. The Odoo positioning on the ERP market and the fact the adding value of Odoo out there as a business suite of application. Then the Odoo user, and that's not just the user experience, but also the user interface, the people who are configuring the software, the people who are maintaining the software. So we're going to really have a deep dive into the user experience and user interface, and then the Odoo flexibility, right? It's also about making sure that our software is flexible enough to fit your requirements, fit your needs, and fit any question you may have. All right, so Odoo as a company. And I want to start by a quote of our CEO, Fabien Pinker. He's our CEO living in Belgium, and our company is from Belgium. And the main mission today is to help organizations to grow by unleashing the potential of the software for the user. And so that's really, we are going to try to put the user in the center of our strategy. And that's just going to be the topic of this main presentation. Odoo is a privately owned company. Odoo is a company who started as a services company. Then we started doing implementation of our software. And then we realized that our software is actually a very scalable software and that we can encourage some partners to implement this software. So we have now a company who is privately owned by Fabien and a couple of other people around Belgium. And our strategy is really about having a organic growth, right? We don't have any, how can I say it? We don't have any growth on acquisition, right? We don't want to acquire our competitor in order to gain market share. Our main goal here, and that's going to be, and you're going to see that through the presentation, is trying to improve as much as possible the application and the features of the platform in order to fit the needs of our clients. So our growth is completely organic, and that's really important to notice. Also, we want to have a worldwide impact. And so our numbers, our KPIs, is obviously our revenue, but it's also the amount of users who are going to use Odoo, the amount of small and medium-sized company who are going to implement Odoo, the amount of subscription, the amount of database, everything, all these KPI are super important for us, and we want to make sure that Odoo is the right software for a lot of businesses across the world. All right, a few slides, a few information about our offices. And as you can see, Odoo is already everywhere in the world. We have offices now in pretty much each continent. We are just missing Oceania and Africa, but I'm sure it's going to come soon. And I specifically wanted to show you this slide just for you guys to kind of remember that, Odoo, even if we are a very generic software and we are trying to have a worldwide presence, we also have offices in places like Asia, North America, Europe, in order to make sure we can fit the needs of our clients, of our customer, right? Each specific market have their specific rules. And by growing, for example, in America, in the US, we want to make sure that we can fit these needs, right? Taxes, accounting, and so on. So we want to have a generic software, but we also want to have a local presence in order to develop market who need to be developed. India, Dubai, Asia with Hong Kong, and so on. And probably we're going to grow, we're going to open more offices in the next years or so. So that's something that I want to make sure you guys keep in mind. We want to have a local roof to our market in order to provide some specific support and specific features for the market we are going to try to develop. And today we have around 11 offices. A few words about our customer, and that's really important to kind of understand the positioning of Odoo and understand what we are trying to accomplish here. We have clients from many sizes, many countries, many industries. We have countries such as the middle of the Pacific, to the US, to Asia, and so we do have the chance, because we have a lot of offices and a lot of partners, to able to answer a lot of questions for a lot of different clients from different countries, but also different size, right? It can be a small entrepreneur who is trying to run his accounting into Odoo, or it can be a massive corporation of 300 users who are just trying to basically run their whole system, hold their own business processes with Odoo, from manufacturing to inventory to procurement to e-commerce and so on. So that's really important for you guys to kind of understand, is that our target is small and medium-sized businesses, but we can also have large corporations who decide to use Odoo for specific needs, for specific processes. And different industry, right? It's not just one industry. We have a very, very generic software. And so what we provide is a business suite of application. And because we have more than 75 applications out there, you can be a company who just want to run e-commerce with inventory, website, and e-commerce. You can be a company for example, if I'm specific in industries, here in the US, we are very strong in the cannabis industries, from point of sale to inventory to manufacturing, in that case, farming. But you can also we are very strong here in the US in the aerospace industry. We have seen a lot of customers in the aerospace industry using our software because it's very flexible, very easy to use, very easy to transform in order to match their business processes. In Australia, for example, we have some clients in the lumber industry. In Europe, in France, we have some clients in the robotic industry around the south of Toulouse. And so there is a lot of different industry, and we had the chance to have all of these clients coming to us because they like the software and they want to keep using it. So if one day you have any question about what are the customers of Odoo, there is a lot of link out there to kind of discuss about what are the customers of Odoo and what are the clients. And even if we don't find an exact reference in your country, I can assure you that with our worldwide presence, we will be able to present you some very interesting business case who can answer most of your business requirements with our existing customer. All right, and I put some few numbers, current numbers today for you guys to understand where we are at Odoo and what we are trying to accomplish. Currently, we have more than 1,300 employees. It's growing very fast. We have around 3,000 official partners in more than 120 countries, who are the local roots, who are the ones who help us to basically develop some business, develop some countries, because we don't have the knowledge, the language, or the resources to implement this software. So they are taking our software and implement that in a lot of different countries for a lot of different needs. We have more than 7.5 million users across the world, from our Odoo community version to our Odoo portal to our Odoo enterprise customer. So that's starting to have an impact, right? And I think when I joined the company, it was only 4 million or 3 million. So I already see that doubling, which is crazy. We have more than 2 million new database in 2020. We have more than 26,000 active subscription. And our revenue last year was above 100 million, of $114 million. And also we have more than 28,000 third-party applications in our app store that our customers, our partners can use to improve the Odoo platform and their Odoo platform in general. Yeah. Some key figure about 2019 and 2020. I mean, 2020 was a crazy years for everybody, and it was really tough for a lot of businesses and for a lot of industries. We were fortunate enough to have a very good growth, and we're really proud to do that, because that's mean the software that we put in the market actually meet the needs of a lot of businesses who wanted to digitalize their businesses. And so, for example, we had the chance to do 43% of revenue growth. We increased by 56 the number of subscription who are using actually Odoo Enterprise clients. And we had the chance to almost double our workforce, our employees numbers. I think by the end of 2018, we were 600. And I think we hired around 500 people in 2020. So we are right now, by the beginning of 2021, we were around 1,100 people. So that really helped us to, because of the growth of the revenue, we were like trying to employ more people and developed more the software and also the support and the consultant who are working with our customer and our partners. And the very interesting criteria when I run these numbers is, why did we only increase our databases by only 14% if we increase our revenue by 43 and our subscription by 56? That means we were able to be actually the right software at the right time to fit the need of our customer. And also that we were able to keep the majority of our customer, because of a lot of reasons that I'm going to mention later on. And by keeping this customer, because they like the software and they realized that it was the right software for their businesses, even during this COVID crisis, we were able to increase our revenue by 43%, which is a great achievement for all of the people who work here at Odoo. Few numbers also about the fact that we opened 3 offices, one in Belgium, Flemish Belgium, Antwerp, one in Buffalo, New York, one in Mexico City. And just because we saw the market and we saw the growth, we were okay with it. Because we hire people, we want to also have more offices to fit the needs of local market, for example, in Mexico, and even in Belgium, Flemish Belgium. And also a few numbers also about our partners. You can think that people are not, because if they are partners and they are usually smaller companies, they are not going to join the Odoo partnership. But no, this is not true. They came to us and we had an increase of more than 25% of the partners from last year's worldwide. So that's also a great achievement from our team who actually managed the recruitment of partners. Okay. few words about the ecosystem. Take some water. And that, I think, is kind of unique to have this ecosystem. Not in the ERP world, everyone have partners, customer, and the vendor. But we have something that a lot of people don't. It's a community. It's a community of people who actually are the one who give us feedback, but also produce reporting and also help us develop the product, collaborate with the product development. And that's something that is quite unique because our model is open source, and for a very long time, our software was actually free. And we were able to kind of grab all of this knowledge of these local partners, local developers, and developed our software in a way who actually answer the needs of our customer today. So that's really the main strength of Odoo today, is by having a very massive amount of developer and a big community who can help us producing feedback and improve our software day to day. Some of this, obviously, we have Odoo, so we take care of the strategy, the R&D, the support and the bug fixing and the services from partners and customer. We have the community who produce feedback. We have the partners who are the roots, who are the people who are on the field, who are the ones who implement the software, talk to our clients, and basically translate and transform the business requirement of our clients to the needs that they want to have to Odoo. And that's vital to the development of our company. Without them, it would be really hard to grow. And they also develop new modules. They develop new starter kit for specific industries that we don't have. We don't have the knowledge of an industry. They may do based on their previous experience, their background, and they are the ones who are able to kind of help us developing this specific industry standard for our clients. And we also have our customer who finance the whole ecosystem, who collaborate with us with the module development, give us feedback as well, and benefit for our support in many different ways, as well as their partners. Okay. And from here, I'm going to just talk now about the Odoo positioning. And, that's the main reason why I wanted to make this webinar is, why you choose Odoo, why you should even consider Odoo. Since I never hear about it, I'm in the United States. We don't do a lot of marketing. We are trying, but it's still we still have a big lack of awareness. Why should I use Odoo compared to other ERP or other specific software out there who can fit my needs, right? First of all, is because Odoo is a fully integrated open source software with a full suite of business application. And that's the key word behind. I mean, there is open source, which I'm going to talk about. There is fully integrated, which is kind of unique in this world. And also that we have a full suite of business application. That means the scope of what we can cover is actually very large and can answer a lot of different needs that you may have right now, that you also may have in the future. That you can have accounting need right now, and tomorrow maybe inventory, and the next day e-commerce, depending on how you want to run your business and what you want to do with the strategy of your business. Yeah. And that's a few awards. And I put all of these awards to make you realize that we are not a specific software for one specific needs. We are running a suite. We are running a platform who can offer a suite of business application for manufacturing to inventory to e-commerce to PLM to social marketing, email marketing, CRM. And that we are not going to try to focus on one specific workflow and business requirement. When we're going to develop our software and when our product owner and the R&D team are developing the software, it's across the board. We want to improve every single application we have in order to have a full comprehensive suite of application. We want to make sure that if you like how manufacturing software, you will also like the inventory, and you will also like the procurement, and you will also like the sales application. And that's super important. Everything needs to be fully integrated, but it also need to be really good on each different workflow that you want to answer from your businesses. And that just shows us a little bit about the full suite of application. I have 75 application by default out of the box that Odoo propose. And we run a lot of different workflow, right? You can take care of human resources with our referral application, appraisal application, fleet management application. You can take care of your manufacturing processes with manufacturing, PLM, quality check, operation with project, inventory, procurement, finance, accounting, invoicing, even legal consolidation if you are multi-companies, sales with point of sales, CRM, sales application. And so there is a lot of need that we can cover. And I just wanted to let you know that there is a lot of application out there. There is also event, email marketing, maintenance for machine, um, recruitment, and so on. So it's kind of important to remember that we are not going to focus on one specific workflow or business processes. We're going to develop the largest suite of application as possible in order to fit as many needs that you may have. And that's include the fact that maybe you work in services, you're never going to use manufacturing, right? But some features that we're going to develop in a manufacturing application, some specific view, some specific form, some specific automation, maybe down to the line in 2 years would be very it will be very interesting to take these features and implement that to project, depending of the amount of reporting you need and all of that. So it's really important to remember that we want to have a full suite of application, and we don't have any limitation in terms of specific industry or specific business requirement, specific workflow that we may have. And that's part of the positioning. That's really the core of what we are trying to accomplish here. Most of the company today are using a lot of different systems, what we call specific software, who can answer the needs of something very specific. I'm taking an example, Slack, communication, taking an example, Hotspot, marketing, taking an example, Salesforce, CRM, right? So yeah, I think you can see where I am right now. There is a lot of specific application who may run your needs very well, but tomorrow, if you want to expand and scale your business to the next level, you're going to have a trouble because all of this software don't talk to each other. They don't talk to each other in a way that it should be, right? They should be just a plug and play. It shouldn't be even that. It should be like when I click on my email marketing action, it should be automatically to my CRM. When I sign a document, it should be automatically available on my CRM as well. So there is a lot of specific software who can answer the need, but who cannot answer the complexity of an ERP and a business suite of application can fit your needs. Today, you have the choice, going mini specific software or implementing a very costly and heavy ERP who is not going to be flexible enough and who's not going to have the user experience and the user interface for your user. And so it's going to be a choice between choosing something who's going to fit your needs but not fit the need of your employees, or who's going to fit the need of your employees but not fit the need of your organization. So you're going to have to shine between the two, and that's where it's the problem, right? There is a lot of information and difficult to access between all of this application if you choose the specific software. When you run a spreadsheet between all of this application, there is a big risk to lose data, to have unnecessary back and forth between your team. And so that's a lot of lost time that you're going to spend in admin instead of focusing on your business and your customer. And Also, that's something that we keep forgetting. It's take a long time to train the worker, train your employees. If you have 14, 15 applications around your organization, you need, when you have a new employees, he need to learn about all of that. And he's going to spend probably the next 3 months focusing about learning about the software instead of learning about the strategy, the tactic, and the important spirit of your company. That's something that you want to avoid, obviously. What we propose with Odoo is having everything in one solution. Because we have a lot of application, and because they were built together in a way that it's extremely scalable, that's where we came in place. And that's super important to remember, that we're going to want to be the bridge between your customer and your organization. And that's it. We don't want to be the one who is like taking too much of your time because of admin, because of spreadsheet, because of connection between multiple software. We want to make sure we just help you with one single application who can be the bridge between your company and your customer. And obviously, we know that you may don't want to change everything in once, right? You want to maybe take step by step, and you want to just implement few application right now, and in the futures you're going to implement more. And or you may want to say, well, I like Odoo for inventory, but I want to keep my accountant really like QuickBooks, and he want to keep his QuickBooks account and still want to run to QuickBooks. Then it's completely okay, because we have API to connect with different software. We have an Apple Store that some of our partners and developers put some application to connect Shopify, QuickBooks to Odoo. And we also have access to development. And that's also the core of what is Odoo. It's open source, meaning that it's not a proprietary software. It's a software that you can configure to the needs of your business requirements. We're going to try to encourage you to use as much as possible the out of the box, but we know sometimes that, for example, you are someone who really like to use Power BI or Tableau software, and you want to have access to the core of the database, then it's possible to do that with Odoo, because you have the choice to actually host your own database and have access, making sure that you have some BI, business intelligence software, looking for the data of the database. So keep this in mind. It's open source. There is no restriction in terms of development. There is API, a REST API. There is a massive app store that you can use, and use the line of code who has been developed to kind of fit the needs of specific needs that you may have. We know that when you do an ERP project, you may don't want to change everything in once, which is completely okay. You can change a little bit now, and in the next years you can change more. But the good thing with Odoo is you have access to a platform who is extremely scalable and open as well. So we have something who's going to give a very good transition to the next slide about Odoo user experience and user interface. And that's the positioning that we believe it's happening in this industry. And we took a few actors like NetSuite, Microsoft Dynamics, and SAP to just make you realize that this is what we are trying to fight against. I'm going to start by marketing. We don't have a much brand awareness. We are not, we are not investing $1 million or $1 billion into marketing and all of these fancy demos or sponsoring of stadium. What we want to accomplish here is saving this money that we're not gonna spend marketing, or not gonna spend on specific industry starter kit or specific industry package that we can deliver, for construction, for any kind of industries. What we want to do is make our money on the R&D, make our money on the tools, make our money on the technical quality. We want to make sure that everything that we invest is for the user. It's for the people who will configure, who will maintain, who will develop, and who will administrate the application. And so everything will go to the tools, everything we will do to technical quality. We want to stay as much generic as possible, and that's why we're not focusing that much in industries. We're going to let our partners do it because they have a lot of knowledge. They are better than us about specific industry, and we want to make sure they are the one who just configure some specific needs for specific industry. And by doing all this investment in R&D on the tools, we want to make sure as well that the price is extremely affordable, meaning that we want to make sure this solution, this software, is accessible to everyone, for SME to large corporation. And so in that case, we're not having different pricing. We have one pricing, unique pricing on odoopricing.com, and you can just check it out. It's fairly easy. I'm going to present that at the end, but it's extremely affordable. And that's the core, is to make sure that we have as many users, as many clients to use our software, for small, medium-sized businesses to large corporation. And that comes to the end about the user experience. And that's kind of the main purpose of also why you should use Odoo. I'm going to present a full slide about the user experience, but we want to make sure that we have as much investment of time of our employees to improve the user experience of our software. Because we know that if someone who really likes software today change a company in the future, will recommend Odoo. Will recommend Odoo because it was very easy, user-friendly, and it was something that could help him to achieve his goal in his previous organization. So that's where we're going to invest as much as possible. We want to make sure we have a very seamless and very easy way to kind of use the user experience of our software, and that's something that you want to keep in mind, and that's something that we are increasing every day, and it's our only focus, and making sure our software is easy to use for anybody, for any industry, at any size, and at any different business requirement. Yeah, user experience. That's something, and the user experience is where we are investing the most, obviously. And the user experience is not just the user experience, actually, it's also the user interface. And that's something that everyone needs to remember at any time when you use a software. You have user experience for simple user, for someone who's going to just do his job on the software, someone who works in marketing, accounting, in the warehouse, inventory control manager, machine operator. You have people who work in the manufacturing, cutter, welder, brazier, people who work in purchase, procurement, and also all the C-level who want to have access to easy dashboard in order to make their decision, easy KPI and report in order to make decision for the company and the future of the company. So that's super important. But if you forget the user interface, the user experience is going to be good one day, but in the future is not going to be good, because you want to make sure that the people who administrate the software, and it can be internal, it can be someone from your team, a super user, it can be the partners with some consultant, it can be the project manager, it can be us, the developer, the product owner, need to have some tools to configure the application in the most easiest way as possible. Because if you have a software right now who is like very good on the user experience, but who have a really bad user interface, what's going to happen is, down to the line, some of you users are going to complain because they do not see enough change and they don't like the software. They like the software 1 year ago, but if you change all of your business processes, then the software is not going to be able to adapt. And that's going to be a pain point for your user. And eventually, they're going to drop and churn this software because it's not good enough for their new business requirement. And that's why the user interface is so important. And it has to be important for the clients, for the partners, and from us as well. Because there is several level of configuration you can do, and I'm going to present that. And that's something you always want to keep in mind. How much can I be autonomous on this software? How much can my partners do? How much this Odoo can do in order to help me? That's something that we're going to mention today. And we're going to talk about the user experience first. First of all, and I'm just going to show a screenshot because I don't want to go too much in details about the demos. And there is a lot of content on our website. There is also Odoo slide, Odoo-slide, with a lot of. We have a full e-learning platform that you can use. You can learn about Odoo. We can do any demos at any times. I'm just going to do a couple of screenshots right now in order to make sure we can respect the time. Few slides. The first one is about a contact form that you can see that from the contact form you have access to a lot of different tabs who can link to a lot of different applications. Ticket from help desk, tasks from project, subscription for subscription. And so with one form, one specific order, here is a sales order down below, you are going to be able to have a lot of action. You're going to be able to have access to smart tab will go from one application to the others. That's something I kind of want to make sure you guys remember is it's fully integrated because it has been developed in a way that we can expand to more businesses, to more business requirement, and to more workflow. Smart filters. Any kind of simple user can have access to a lot of different ways to, do some specific filters and save this filter as favorite, group by. There is access to a lot of information out there, and you can do a lot of filters and save this filter for your own use or for your team or for your whole organization. From a lot of different applications, from inventory, project, sales, any application will give you access to these smart filters. And so that's super important to remember is every time when you go in one application, you are able to configure your own filter and your own KPI in order to follow your daily work, basically. Some views, massive variety of views, from again views to chart views to cabin views, calendar views, list views, and that's just, we have many of them, but that's just to make sure that you guys understand that there is a lot of ways to configure some specific views in order to kind of follow your specific KPIs or follow your specific processes. For example, the cabin view for CRM or for project or stuff like that. Dashboard and Odoo Excel. Again, stem about the KPI, right? We have a lot of varieties to make, a lot of way to make dashboard. And so you can just make a dashboard, click on the dashboard and drill into the transaction. That's something that is quite unique because all the information is in the same system. How dashboard are dynamic. If you click on the dashboard, you will see the information about the dashboard. That's something that is very interesting to see. Odoo Excel, that's something completely new from last year's October. You now have access to reports who actually make Excel inside Odoo with specific formula, as you can see here. And so you can run your numbers, make some formula, save this template, and the next day when you log in, because it's a specific Odoo Excel linked to the Odoo database, all the number will be run, and the formula that you have done will be also updated by the new numbers of any kind of information you want to have. Commission, you can do the sales cycle, you can do invoice, you can do how much, for example, how much I want to see a report with all my big vendor, my big suppliers, and you can make a lot of information on Odoo with access to the Odoo Excel, with meaning that you have access to a lot of formula and you can save this formula for the futures. So you do not need to export a template to kind of run your numbers. You can run your numbers in Odoo and save it in Odoo, and it will be updated from Odoo. That's something that's very cool to see. Audit chapter and activities. I'm going to take some water. Checking the time. You are good. Odoo chatter and activities. Um, One, that's from a personal experience. This is one of the things I kind of wish I had back in the day when I was working with in a services company. Um, I was using Salesforce actually, and I really enjoy the Salesforce chatter from the CRM. I really enjoy it. I think it was really cool. I could communicate with my colleagues, my manager from the CRM. But what I really didn't understand is, why the simple ERP, the second system I have, didn't have a chatter, didn't have a way to communicate internally and even externally with my customer about a specific record, specific invoice, specific sales order, specific project. I didn't have that. And it make me feel that I was always going back and forth from my CRM to my Gmail to actually the ERP, because I had to communicate with my colleagues by email or by chat instead of tagging them on a specific record. Hey, about this specific sales order, have you sold that much? How can we process the payment of this invoice? All of these interaction tools, I didn't have it. And with Odoo, you do have it for all the application, as you can see here. And you have access to your activities. And every day you can log in on your morning and you can see what are my late activities, the today activities, and the futures. From the manufacturing to the inventory, for the accounting, to the project, to the CRM. The chatter and the activities management is available everywhere. Something that I believe that it will help you to follow up with the activities of your company. And specific features. Here is something for the worker in a factory, a drill station. Here is something for field services with a map view. Here is something for accounting reconciliation with you can connect your bank to the Odoo accounting. A lot of specific features for a lot of specific needs. The user interface, and I'm going to try to talk 5 minutes about that a little bit. You have a lot of different layers of configuration, depending on what you are in your organization, if you are someone who knows very well Odoo. You have access to the simple configuration, and you can just enable, disable some features inside the database. Or I have a second company, I'm going to create a second company. This second company is in Mexico. I want everything to be in Spanish. I change the language. Or I want to activate the OCR, the tool to read my PDF and scan my PDF to the transaction inside my system. Or I have this. So you enable, disable features with the Odoo configuration. You're also able to go in application and download some specific integration, right? We connect also with Authorize.net, FedEx, shipment method, payment acquirers, Stripe. We have a lot of different features and application that you can connect out of the box with Odoo. So you can run your transaction from your e-commerce platform to Odoo with Authorize.net, for example. The developer mode, that's something a little bit more advanced. It will be more like for administrator. What I was showing you is more like for a super user. Developer mode, I want to make some specific security rules. How can I do that? Well, what you can do is just go in developer mode and you have access to a lot of different features. And you can kind of change these features in a way to make sure that your people can actually have access to specific application. You want to make sure your accountant can only see accounting. You want to make sure your sales guy can only see CRM and sales. That's something you can do from the database, and it's exactly the same user experience that if you were running into Odoo. Like it's just a little bit more complex, obviously, because of the complexity of the needs, but you do not need to change the interface. You don't need to go from Salesforce Lightning to Salesforce Admin. The interface is exactly the same, and you can just do it from the platform Odoo with exactly the same kind of UI that you were working if you were working as a simple employees. Something super important, and I think it's one of the best tools that we have in Odoo, one of the best application. It's called Studio, and it's a way to configure your platform as much as you can, just without knowing how to code. So basically, here you have a form. Here you have my company address. I want to change my name of my company address. I want to make sure that I can run I want to have a selection list. So I just drag and drop and I just add a selection list. I want to have a specific tab. I don't like the tab that Odoo have. I just want to add a specific tabs. How can I do that? You just click on it. You have one too many, two too many. You have related fields. In this contact form, I want to have the information of the amount of money I run with this customer, the amount of money I sold him in 2020, and I want to have this in the front page of the contact form. And you go and you just drag and drop and you add the information. Studio to report, same thing here. You have some PDF that you want to modify. Here is the delivery slip. I want to add a column. I drag and drop a column. I just change a field. I just correct the text. And that's something, can be very flexible, very easy to use. And that's any user can do. But that will be more like super user who have the access to go on Odoo Studio and change some field in the futures. Odoo automatization. You can run as many automation that you want from the CRM, from accounting. You have automatization by default with action to do, but you can also add some line of Python code into the automatization template in order to make some different action. That's something you want to always keep in mind, that it's still in Odoo, it's still in Odoo Studio, and it's really easy to use. Just if you know how to code Python, there is a way to kind of make much more automatization than the basic one that we propose. Odoo SH, which is a specific platform host with us in the platform as a services, and we give access to the source code. You can go in editor and you can kind of write the Python line of code right away from the database. That's because we are open source and we want to offer the information of our customer. We want to make sure our customer or our partners can configure the software as they need, basically. GitHub. That's also something which connect to Odoo SH. It's for the repository, and that's a way to kind of create your own database, create your own line of code, and when it's ready and you see his work, push it to Odoo SH and kind of develop. It's like specific development, basically. But it's a fairly easy tool to use, and a lot of developers out there already have a GitHub account, already know how to use GitHub, and so when they work with Odoo SH, it's much, much easier than downloading the software and kind of having to deal with the line of code right off the bat. Odoo flexibility. And we have a few slides and making sure that we are not going to be late. But something that is really, really important, and I think like right now we are entering into why you should Odoo. Well, maybe it's because, what I show you, like the company, the user experience and the positioning in the market, but also to the fact that we are extremely modular, meaning that we are not going to, if you decide that you only want inventory for your system, then we're going to only give you inventory. We are not going to try to sell you accounting. It doesn't need to do that. You can buy inventory, use inventory for 1 year, and if you like, tomorrow you will be able to implement accounting. That's something that is kind of unique in this world, is because we have developed the software in a way that, you have dependency, but not the whole thing is dependent to each other. You have dependency around inventory, you have dependency around accounting, around manufacturing, but not everything is together. And that meaning that that's something that is kind of important to realize, is that we have this modular approach, and it's extremely scalable. Meaning that, if you have one business processes you want to serve right now with Odoo, let's do it. And when you are ready to go to the next level, let's just download the application, install it, and using it. And that's something that is kind of important to remember at any times with Odoo. Here is a different hosting type, and that the main idea behind this slide is that you have the choice. We are not going to push you to a specific hosting type. We will let you the choice between going on our cloud, on the cloud with Odoo SH, which is a specific cloud with more customization, or on-premise, on your own server or on your private cloud. It's completely fine for us. We'll give you the best choice. It's there is no difference of price, only with Odoo SH, a bit more cheaper. But between how cloud, Odoo Online, and on-premise, it's the same price. Meaning that we have the choice, you have the choice. If you want, for any reason, you're a little bit scared about the security and you want to always have your data, then you can host it on your server and you can do backup in your old server. And that's something that is super important to remember. That you have the choice. If you are a small organization and you don't want to take care of the infrastructure and private cloud, go with Odoo Online. Use our application. It's free. You don't need to pay for the cost of the hosting. You will have access to very nice migration. You have access to the Odoo SLA because it's on cloud, and we will make sure we support you as much as possible. So the main takeaway on this slide, you have the choice. You have the choice on the hosting type. And that's super important. And what is also important is that you have the choice, but if you have the choice and there is a difference behind on the version and the migration, that's the issue. But in our case, the three most versions are supported regardless of the hosting. Meaning that if you are on-prem clients, it's fine. You just need to migrate in the next 3 years if you want to be supported. So we'll make sure that we can run the migration with you at any times if you are on-prem, if you are Odoo on our cloud, or if you're on Odoo SH. It's exactly the same for us. When you download the application or when we do an Odoo trial, the software is exactly the same. And so it's really important to remember that the migration is not an issue for us, especially if you came from an on-prem world or you have been treated badly, I would say, by some other vendor telling you that you need to upgrade to the cloud or they are not going to support you anymore. And that's something that we will never do because we believe on the privacy of the data. And if for any reason our customer want to host their own data, then they can do so. And we will help them to install this software and run the software with our partners. And that's the last slide. I'm just finishing by the pricing, because you pay for what you need. Meaning that because it's a modular software, because it's extremely scalable, we want to make sure that the application you're going to choose is actually the application that you're going to use, and not like the full ERP, the full package, without letting you the choice of choosing between manufacturing, procurement, or inventory. Maybe you do not need that, but they're going to ask you to take it because it's like a full package. In our case, it's extremely modular. So you basically select the number of users, select the application, select the hosting. It's just addition of the three. Some hosting are already free, and then you can use the software. And that's something quite unique in our industry, right? Is that you do not need to have specific application that you do not use. You're going to only pay for the application you're going to use. And that's in our way, it's really important to kind of when we talk to prospect, to kind of say that from the beginning, right? It's important to remember that you're only going to pay for what you actually need. That's kind of important. And on top of that, we have a very affordable pricing structure. Some applications are actually cheaper than the price of one user per year. For example, if you combine sell and invoicing, it's actually the same price than one user for 1 year. And I just put the price here. It's around $300 for per year per user here in the US, and you can see the different price of application. So that was basically it on the pricing and basically it on the flexibility of the software, right? We want to make sure you pay for what you need, you get what you want, you have a modular approach, it's scalable in the futures, you decide about the hosting, and we will support you in the future regardless of your application. So I'm gonna finish here. First of all, to thanks everybody. I think what I wanted to do on this webinar is not to sell you Odoo, it's just to show you that Odoo let you a lot of different ways to actually implement your business requirement to the platform. And it's not just about choosing Odoo because it's one of the ERP in your list. It's about choosing Odoo because it actually makes sense to use a software who is scalable, who have a very nice pricing policy, affordable pricing policy, and that which actually some software who's going to evolve in the future because of the structure of the company. We are privately owned. We have no intention to to acquire other competitor or even sell the company. I would say that we had an interview on how CEO say that he no way he want to sell. He just want to grow. He just want to use the profit to R&D, develop the software, make new application, improve the existing application, and help as many users as possible to run their business and as many companies as well. So to that, I wanted to thank you everybody for joining to this some webinar. So my name is Wilfried Janker. You can reach me at this email, wju@odoo.com. I will be more than happy to talk to you about anything from the partnership program to the Odoo software to the Odoo positioning against other ERP. We worked every day on that. And yeah, basically, thank you very much for this webinar. Feel free to reach out to me at this email address. And thank you again. And I wish you a very good day. Thank you.